Hi, this is Shankar once again, and today I am making a small video on marriage, divorce, and which are the planets or the houses or the lords which are involved in marriage and divorce. And when you talk about marriage and divorce, it could also we can talk about remarriage. Now you have a chart, and the most important thing. Let's first understand that the most critical thing in a house, in a planet, in a horoscope is the dasha, bhukti, and antar. So the dasha and bhukti should be such that they should show that these are the planets or the houses which come into play. If the dasha and bhukti are not supporting a particular event, it will not happen. Even if there are yogas in the horoscope, making negative or positive kind of things are shown. So let's understand dasha bhukti is most critical, and then you apply these indicators. Now this is the video which will only tell you about some indicators. We can't go into details of astrology because that is complex and a lot of things have to be seen. So I'm just telling about combinations and what is it when you see, when you should think, oh, there is a problem, let me go ahead. And look into the whole thing in a detailed way. So that is how astrology needs to be done. So most important thing, marriage. How does it happen? Marriage happens only when there is a relationship between the second house. Second house is a family. Seventh house is of marriage itself, the partnership, and 11th house is the gain from marriage. Fifth house from the seventh house, that is gain from marriage. So whenever there is a relationship between second, seventh, and 11th in a horoscope by means of the planets or by means of the planets, of the lords of these houses, second, seventh, and 11th, or if there are planets that are situated in second, seventh, and 11th, which are there, or the planets are the depositors of Lord of second, seventh, and 11th, when the former relationship within themselves is Dasha, Bhukti, and Antar, then an event of marriage can be predicted. So second, seventh, and 11th talks about a marriage. Similarly, therefore, divorce, which happens in a marriage, has to be seen from which houses, and that would be the first house. First house is yourself, which says that okay, now let me go ahead and do that, do something. Let me take action. Sixth house is the negation of marriage. So when there is sixth and there is, which is the 12th to 7th, negation of marriage, which is there, and 10th house is 12th from 11th, that is loss of happiness, loss of other things. So when there is a relationship of 1, 6, and 10, so there could be a dasha bhukti where you could see a relationship between 2nd, 7th, and 11th happening in terms of the lordship of these planets, in terms of the planets that are situated in the 2nd, 7th, and 11th houses, or in terms of depositors or lords of 2nd, 7th, and 11th being represented by the planets. If these three things are there and there is a relationship, a marriage can happen. But then if we have a dasha bhukti which signifies the relationship with the first house, sixth house, and the 10th house, then it is divorce. The lords of first, sixth, and 10th together, and if there is a combination which is the combination of lord of first and sixth and 10th, that it shows a negation of marriage and it could lead to divorce. There will be always an involvement when there is a divorce, and when there is a fight in the court, there will be involvement of 8th house and 12th house, because 8th house is for fear, 8th house for misery, 8th house for tension, 8th house is looking at things which are deeper, trying to do out of the box method. So 8th and 12th is loss of money. So when there is a court case and bickering going to happen, then it will be first house, the sixth house, the 10th house. The 10th house here is, don't confuse, it's a good house, it's a house which is 12th to 11th. It negates the happiness from marriage. The first, sixth, and 10th, and 8th and 12th will get involved, because if you're going to get into a court case and if you're going to get into litigations. So when the relationship between these five houses and planets are there, and you have to see, again, emphasizing the relationship could be in terms of the mutual aspects of the planets, mutual conjunction of the lords of these planets, planets placed in these houses, or the depositors of these planets. And then you see the dasha, bhukti, and antar. If there is 1, 6, 10, 8, and 12, then you see that there will be a divorce, and the divorce will be fairly bitter in terms of things. Again, as you progress with the dasha, bhukti, and antar, and you see that again there is a relationship between 2, 7, and 11 coming between the dasha, bhukti, and antar, you can predict that okay, there has been a divorce, but there can be a remarriage also. So this is how you have to see marriage, remarriage, and divorce. So this is how you need to see things to that effect. In all these things, also consider Saturn, Rahu and Ketu as malefic planets, which are always involved in some way or the other in creating the disturbance. A Saturn, which is the lord of say 8th house and has got some connectivity with the 12th house, it is a depositor of some planet which is placed in 12th house, or in some other way it is connected to the 12th house, then and placed in the 5th house will create problems for marriage, because then it looks at the 7th house, it looks at the 11th house, and also looks at the 2nd house. When it is not connected with 8th and 12th house and 7th house, it may not create problems, because Saturn delays marriage, because Saturn then will keep the marriage going on. If you're married, it will say, okay, be married, but live like kind of. I mean, you're living in a same house, but you're literally not married. You're just pulling on a social institution. So Saturn, Rahu, Ketu have got those kinds of capabilities also. So this is how you have to analyze this thing perfectly. But also important is that whenever there's going to be a divorce, that is when I said that 1, 6, 10 is involved. And on the other hand, I said if 8th and 12th are involved, there will be a divorce, a bitter kind of a bitter legal battle. But when 1, 6, and 10 are involved, and there is an involvement of 5th and 9th house, 5th and 9th lords, or the planets in the 5th and 9th, or the planets that depositors of the lord of 5th and 9th, they play a very critical role, in the sense they try to reconcile issues. They have this particular innate capability of negotiation. Dharma or karma aapko batate hain. It will help you to negotiate, it will help you to talk, it will help you to see the other side of the pasture, etc., etc. And there could be a reconciliation also. So 5th and 9th house, on the other hand, leads to reconciliation. So you have to see this play of the planets when you're seeing. Also in the case of a lady horoscope, look at Jupiter singularly. If Jupiter is damaged, Jupiter is weak, Jupiter is debilitated, stop and look, because that is one planet which governs a lot of issues of marriage. Retrograde planets are strong as far as I'm concerned. So that is my study, and if Jupiter is debilitated and retrograde, it will give the results of debilitation, but it will also hold on to things. It will delay things. It will it becomes a little better off, negative better off kind of thing. So you have to see Jupiter in case of a woman's horoscope, Venus in the case of when you're looking at a man's horoscope, we look at Venus. If Venus is damaged, stop, have a look. Then the wife could be of issues, and I've seen that Venus, when exalted, puts you into greater problems rather than when Venus is debilitated. Exalted Venus, I've seen, creates more issues, because exalted Venus is like your buddhi becomes a Buddha. So that lady is of a different nature, the woman becomes of a different nature. When Venus is debilitated, it becomes mercurial. The way it starts functioning as it is in the world, very calculative, wanting things to themselves. Then you will have a different kind of a lady. You don't jump and predict divorces. Similarly, in a woman's horoscope, look at Mars, because Mars is your friendship, your energy, the man in front of you. So Mars should be strong in the case of a female's horoscope. If the Mars is strong, she'll get a good husband. So in the case of females, look at the Mars, how is it placed, which planets it is with. If it is with Rahu, I mean, there are going to be issues. If Shukra is with the Rahu, there is going to be issues. So look at these Mars and Venus in the case of a female's horoscope. In the case of a male's chart, when you look at marriage, holistically look at Jupiter in the case of a woman's chart. So these are also indicators which are very important. I've already given a video where I've talked about extramarital relationships, and extramarital relationships which have become common, open relationships have become common, and these are things are made by society. There, of course, in the case of women's horoscope, you have to see Mars, Venus, and its connection with Saturn, Rahu, Ketu. In case of a male's horoscope, also you see the same planets, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, and its combination with our horoscope. So see the character of a person. But that I've already dealt in a video earlier. So here I've only dealt about 3 things. One is factors, which are marriage, 2, 7, 11, houses which can create divorce, 1, 6, 10, 8, and 12 add to court and to litigation expenses. 5 and 9 are more about reconciliation, and that is how you have to see. And whenever Lord of, let me tell you, Lord of 7th in 6th may lead to negation of marriage, but it has to be related to 10th and 1st. Don't take it singularly. Not one thing will do it. Like Lord in seventh, in fifth is very good. Uh, Thereby, the your if it's in a male's chart, the spouse, that is the seventh house, will gain for the husband. Now, how much will it gain? What it doesn't mean it will be happiness. It could be gain. So it depends on the planet which is there in the fifth house, and what does that planet signify. Suppose fifth house, I told you, if it has Saturn and it is connected with eighth and 12th and sixth houses, it could lead to a lot of miseries. So you have to see how what a planet uh, which is aspecting the seventh house first. What does it signify? And for that, see the lordships, see the conjunction, see the depositor of what it is depositor of. Suppose you have Cancer as your in your chart, and you have planets in Cancer, then Moon becomes a depositor of the conjunction. So you have to study the conjunction, and Moon will have the energy of the conjunction in it. And if it is in seventh house, then it will reflect that into it. So these are three things which you need to see. But yes, if these pointers are there, there's a relationship 1, 6, 10, 8, and 12, with the relationship between 2, 7, 11, that is marriage. Then it's the relationship 5, 9, 8, and 12. Then I told you about reconciliation and litigation. Then you do look. And the most important thing which I again want to re-emphasize is look at the Dasha, Bhukti, and Anta. The Dasha is the king, and the Bhukti should signify these events through the planets of the Dasha and Bhukti. The Dasha and the Bhukti should signify issues of marriage, divorce, going to the court, reconciliation, and they are the ones who becomes the prime significators of making an event happen. When the event will happen, that would be the transit. If you have to go greater, then you have to see the D9, you see the Nakshatra Lord, the Sub Lord, get into the strength of the planets, etc., etc., to see when the event will happen, how the event will happen, when I've told you, but how, what will the intensity of the event, etc., that you have to then accordingly judge. So this is it for now, and I hope you like this small video, because I can't make a bigger video than this. So, and I've requested some of my friends to, make me understand how do I make a chart when I'm talking. It's easy for me to on a video and start talking, but I don't know how to put a chart on a board and show the chart to you. It comes upside down or something. So that I'm grappling with that issue, and hopefully I'll resolve it. I'll try to show some charts and explain things through the charts. So that's it. Thanks. Bye for now.